Welcome in. Welcome in to Follow Everton. Thank you for joining us. I am Chad from the States, and I am really freaking pissed off and angry, and I'll get to that in a second. With me is Aussie Chris from a hotel room in Michigan. Aussie
Yeah,
Chris,
you're not pissed off that I'm in Michigan. You're pissed off about something else. Would it
I'm
happen to have anything to do with this by any chance?
I am so mad, Christopher. What is wrong with him? What is wrong with Sean Dyche? Does Michael Keane know where the bodies are buried? I can't even, for the life of me, I can't understand while you have your best player on the bench in a game that is very winnable, that you
hmm
need to continue this momentum in a very easy month, considering like what November's fixture list looks compared to December's fixture list. I I am I'm aghast. I don't even use that word often, Chris. I'm aghast by what I'm looking at.
I wish I was a guest. I was so expecting this to be the case that I'm not surprised anymore, which is maybe a cynicism of Dyche is a soft bigotry of low expectations, but you know he's old school, and he'll be. It's a bad choice as a manager to change a winning lineup, even when there's a room for improvement. And clearly, Branthwaite is a room for improvement. And I just saw Duggan come in with a comment. And to Reggie Murphy's point, yes, that is the lineup. Um,
Reggie, what are you thinking? Reggie, there is no world where you can like that lineup when your best player is on the bench. I don't care if we're undefeated in 4. I don't care if Michael Keane has been playing well. You know what? You know what we have today? We have Fulham, and we are going against one of the most informed strikers in the Premier League. So why in the world Michael Keane is half the player than Jared Branthwaite is? There's no way. There's no way. Reggie, how do you like that lineup? Reg, I want to hear from you. Give me. I need justification, Reggie. How do you like that lineup?
it's like an incoming other phone ends.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna rant. I'm gonna. That's how mad I am about this one.
Yeah. So for those making comments about the score updates, I've got SofaScore on my iPhone on my right. So if I duck down and do some score checks, that's what's going on as well. So we know City are ahead, not really a problem for us. Brighton and Wolves, Brighton are winning. Ipswich, weirdly, by the way, have now equalized after going down to
Oh,
10 men and giving
I
away
have
a
money on that one.
penalty. That's an interesting one. But that'll be rolling down on the bottom there for people. But we'll go back to the some Everton commentary because to Barry Page, who is a premium subscriber, thank you for your contribution there. And Mangala, in many respects, should be starting. But do you still want to get Michael Keane off your chest, or shall we?
Big, big shouts, Barry. Hey, great to have you on, Barry. Thanks for the support. I agree with you. I do think Mangala should be starting. This is the difference, though, in that I think Mangala should be starting over Decore, but
Mhm.
you don't want to change. I'm going to contradict myself, but I'll give you the justification for it. Mangala is not so much better than Abdoulaye Decore that it justifies, if he's healthy, he's an automatic, pencil him in into the lineup. Jared Branthwaite is that much better than Michael Keane. Jared Branthwaite is significantly a better player than Michael Keane. I would rather have Jared Branthwaite on one leg than I would rather have Michael Keane fit
Mhm.
out there today. And also, it goes without saying, Chris, Raul Jimenez has 4 goals and an assist already in the Premier League
Mhm.
this season. Why
I'm
are you not playing your best center halves against Fulham right now in this lineup with this lineup?
because I'm not Sean Dyche. He sees the world differently than I do. He's tried and tested what works for him, when he chooses not to take risk and can sleep at night in a way that I wouldn't. Jared Branthwaite clearly is the better option defensively. He doesn't have Michael Keane's prowess scoring goals, but he actually does score goals now. So what you're really saying is, okay, we did okay against an Ipswich side that were drastically underperforming last week, and that's okay because we kept 2 clean sheets in a row with Michael Keane in the squad because we were lucky rather than good. What was his name again? Jack Clark missed an open goal, but we shouldn't have had a clean sheet, really. So what we're now saying is Jared Branthwaite isn't good enough to come back in the side because Keane has kept his spot. Raul Jimenez has been in excellent form. They have Andreas Pereira that can't score penalties. We have Emil Smith-Rowe that's been hot and cold since he's moved over from Arsenal, but I think it's going to be really dangerous today.
He's
And
tough, though. He's tough, Chris. He's so skilled and so good.
And Iwobi coming back to Goodison, it just screams of an equalizer or a key goal, and what's he going to do for a celebration? And then we have Adama Traore against Mikalenko, which seems quite a fitting underdog out muscle match, but we'll see how that goes on our left side.
Yeah, let's get into the individual matchups first. Let's bring Barry back up one more time. We say this, and Keane will go out and score worldly. I know it happens every time when I want to shit on Michael Keane. He does something incredible. That's why you almost have to love him, right? He's like that. He's like that cousin in your family that it is a screw up, and he drives everyone else crazy. But he's also has like an incredible heart, and every once in a while he'll do something that surprises you. And okay, well, hold on, Reggie. I got to get to Reggie's rationalization here. Okay, because I think we have a strong enough lineup to beat Fulham, and I don't want to rush Branthwaite back into action as he's most likely to become injured again. He's been fit now for a couple weeks, and we were coming off of the international break. Jared Branthwaite has had 3 weeks to get healthy after picking up that knock before the break. He should be okay to play at this point. I understand being careful with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's a few years older. He has a much longer history of injury than Jared Branthwaite does. Sean Dyche is fighting for his job here. We are maybe weeks away, months away, potentially weeks away from Mauricio Sarri, from Jose Mourinho. Like the names have been floated out there. We are months away from one of those people coming and taking Sean Dyche's job. He has to win as many games as he possibly can, and not putting your best player on the field will come back to haunt him, because I'm afraid we might only get a point from this today when we should be getting 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think if Branthwaite is truly a risk due to injury, then we understand. But what we'll never be told, and that's what the manager's prerogative, he'll say, well, he was injured and didn't want to risk him. But we won't really know, because if we bring him in on a match like this one, and then we have a run of fixtures that we can get points from, and we don't get him in the upcoming fixtures because he's injured, okay, I don't have the feeling on that based on what he said in the press conference. It seems very much that is not the case. He said he was fit, and everyone thought he was starting today. And go figure.
Yeah. All right, you have the lineups here. Let's talk about the different matchups, because I think there's really a lot of interesting things here. I wanted to focus on Raul Jimenez against what I thought was going to be Jared Branthwaite and James Tarkowski. But if you look here, Ashley Young, I don't know how much longer Sean Dyche is going to rely on him, especially over a fit Seamus Coleman. I don't think he likes Patterson. We've visited that, but Alex Iwobi is a matchup where I am okay with Ashley Young being back out there. Alex Iwobi, we've seen him. We know Alex Iwobi very well. He's not. He doesn't have a ton of pace. He's not an athletic marvel. He is a crafty, very good player, but he's not anyone that Ashley Young shouldn't be able to handle. And then Traore, he's got a ton of pace, and big, strong, muscle-bound guy. Vitaly Mikalenko should be able to stay with him. He's done it in the past. So where else? Where are you seeing? What areas on the pitch should we be thinking about before we jump into this one, Chris?
So what we didn't see last week, which I think is, I'm not going to say it's a testament to Everton in that respect, but Ipswich was so slow at bringing the ball up that Everton can kind of, you almost think back to like the Romans or the Greeks, where they have that kind of like turtle shield wall, and like they perfectly control the middle, give out wide, and everyone's in position. And I don't see that happening today because Fulham are well organized. Yeah, they have some gaps in the back, but up front, I'm really scared. Traore is going to dominate, I think, in the air on the back post. Mikalenko struggled with that. Iwobi, yes, he doesn't have as much pace as some wingers, but he's more of an out-and-out winger to beat Ashley Young than we've been seeing from players recently. But again, Ashley Young hasn't done us a foot wrong because he hasn't been tested, but I think he'll be tested today. I thought Leif Davis would do it last week, but again, Ashley Young and Jack Harrison as a team were actually quite good last week, so credit where credit's due. But I am kind of worried. I think Smith Rowe will drop in the pocket behind Raul Jimenez, and it's all about Idrissa Gana Gay or someone not being so focused on marking space and man marking Smith Rowe, where he'll have an opportunistic strike because Raul Jimenez is in excellent form, and you should be double teaming him the entire match. And then it's one of those three kind of supporting figures that I think are going to play a key role. Robinson on that left side as well. Their left side is quite effective. But again, I said that last week and we held up. So is it just my fear of our inability to defend and we give up the touchline?
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. This is going to be one of the I wouldn't say few. I would say from a talent perspective, it's pretty darn close. Like Everton is certainly going to have many matchups where we are just not even where we wouldn't find anyone in our starting lineup being able to crack their squad. There will be those instances. This is not the case today. I think I actually like the way we match up really well with Fulham. I think they will control the ball. I think Sean Dyche will happily let them. Where do you think our goals come from today, Chris? If we're going to, when we attack, how do you see us attacking? Will it be along the left with Iliman Ndiaye? Where are you seeing it?
This will sound really vague, but there's a point to it. I think we have the opportunity to score in all facets up front today, without what's his name? Is it Joaquin or Jakeem Anderson? With his suspension, I think they looked really weak the second they went down to 10 men defensively. Kenny Tete isn't that good on the right side. I think they're missing. He was a Leicester player that moved to Fulham when they got relegated. Timothy Castagna, he's out.
Castagna. Can't stand him.
I can't stand him. I can't stand. Yeah. And Sander Berger got completely pantsed against the midfield of Aston Villa last week. So I think we could go at them from the left side. I think we go at them from the center. And Robinson is excellent going forward, but I see him creating a channel where, like, hey, he's up front, because he's a high and wide player, go into that right channel. So I think more likely than not, it's center up the middle or on the left-hand side. But I think there's actually avenues throughout their entire defense because it's weak and their midfield isn't as defensive. They're great going forward, though.
Yeah, this is one of those games where Dominic Calvert-Lewin should be able to have some success, should be able to get comfortable. I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin has had those weeks where maybe he's matched up against really big center halves, big physical center halves, and he hasn't been able to win the aerial duels he usually does. Dominic Calvert-Lewin should have lots of success today, especially with Anderson out. And as you said, their midfield not being as defensively minded. And I thought he played well last week. We all know of DCL's shortcomings in front of goal in 1v1 situations, him on the keeper. But I thought DCL played really well last week at doing everything else that we ask of him. Yes. So wouldn't it be nice if he was able to carry some of that through, but get some of that finishing again today? I think he's going to have opportunities. I think he's going to have some opportunities to do it.
Yeah. So we'll what I really hope is he spent a couple days You say, think about it as a striker, get in the right mental headspace. What I think he should do is go back and play FIFA, and then like basically go through that training drill whenever and I'm sure you guys on the chat have done this too. You're waiting for the match to start up, and they go through all the training drills, and then they have the one-on-one with the keeper. So he just sits there and simulates for hours on end what he as the DCL player would do, because he's so in his own head about, instead of going to the bottom corner, he waits a second too long and gets stuck in his own feet and basically waits for the keeper to block off his passing lane. So it's either that, or you say, well, you know what, I can't score, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to flick it up and then beat him with a header right in front of the keeper, and that's how he scores his one-on-ones, because he struggles to score with his feet. I don't know what it is, other than he's confident in the air and he gets in his own head. Maybe 1 week of training and psychology is the difference, but he's been like that. And to Barry Page's point, as a one-on-one striker, he's good at he's been doing excellent, honestly, outside of that aspect the entire year. A lot of off-the-ball running. He's actually been really causing a lot of teams issues. And because now we have a dynamic front three, sometimes with Jack Harris in a front four, they're struggling to figure out how to take on DCL, because he can pull two players now and we score because of his off-the-ball movement. Yes, yeah. Michael King can score goals, but he's not an off-the-ball mover like DCL. But DCL is not scoring when he's in a one-on-one position, and if that keeps happening, then they won't do a two-on-one on him anymore, and then all of a sudden his impact is muted.
The Blues, Jop and Bassey are both the same height or taller than DCL. Jop is 6'4". He's a big boy. Bassey is only 6'1". Jop is not the player Anderson is. So, while they are still average to taller than average center backs, DCL should have some success in here today. Let's see. You see any good comments in here, Chris? Oh, hey! First of all, can we get some congratulations out there? We've buried the lead, Chris. Our dear friend Ryan Grant. We'll say congratulations to him. I don't know if he wants us getting into his personal business, but if you know Ryan personally, shoot him a text message. Congratulations to Ryan, and we'll just leave it at that. And also, hey, congratulations to our under 21s. 2-0 today. Omari Benjamin with a brace against Liverpool. So we're starting the day off really well, Chris. We're going to go into this evening's matchup, but I think with some good vibes.
Yeah. Nautil and one other person, Toffee Nug 78. They're asking about a watch along. I would be very happy to do one, but I'm in a tricky situation today. As you probably know, I'm back in the United States for the next couple of weeks. I'm back for a wedding, which is today. If the match goes for exactly 2 hours, I have to be at a wedding right up, like within half an hour after the end of the match. So I need to get ready for that. And I didn't want to wear the suit because it looks a little bit too much like Fulham for this. So, but the reality is, I don't want to be tied up for a 2-hour commitment during that watch along due to a wedding. My wife is maid of honor, so I better not be late. But I'm certainly going to try to be more involved in those. I really enjoyed the one last week, and it seems that there's a lot of you that really enjoyed that content. So really looking forward to doing more of those in the future, but it won't be this week. I might well, though, do a halftime reaction. So if anyone is on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, keep an eye out for that.
Oh, very cool. Hey, Chris, thanks so much for doing those watch-alongs. I know a lot of people like those. I am not going to do a watch-along today because you're getting me on pre-match and match reaction later today with Jan. So that's too much. That's too much of me.
The chat is great, but he also gets tired.
Yeah, you need me in smaller doses. So we're no match reaction today, but yeah, see if do jump in and see if Chris is going to be here at halftime, just to give you his thoughts on that. Let's see, what do we got? No worries, Chris. There we go. Dyche is clueless. Hey, we'll do a quick rejoinder here. You're watching Follow Everton. Thank you. We have about 111 of you on right now, so appreciate your eyes as you get ready for Everton Fulham today. Just a reminder that we are here every match, pre-match, every match for a post-match reaction show, and then on Thursdays for Saturday games, we will do a match preview as well. So make sure you tune in for those. We appreciate your support. If you'd like to become a premium member, a supporter for us, that helps us out a little bit. It's able to provide us with some, oh, that's my dog barking, able to provide us with some microphones and other things that we need just to be able to do this show for you. Chris, hold on one second. I need you to take over real quick while I drop off.
Okay. So what I will do while Chad's away for a moment, some interesting score updates came through. So the ticker's been scrolling down the bottom. It seems like it was in the dying embers of the Brentford-Ipswich match. A second penalty went to Bryant and Burmo. So Brentford end up in a dramatic 4-3 win and give Ipswich 0 points after being up 2-0 early in that match. Meanwhile, Villa were up for almost the entire match against Bournemouth and led up if it wasn't last minute, it was again in the last few minutes around stoppage time, an equalizer there. Brighton, I believe, were up 2-0 against Wolves, and Wolves came back to equalize as well. So a lot of last-minute point switches. Man City scored early. They're early in Haaland. They had a lot of opportunities. Haaland missed a glaring opportunity to make it 2-0. They did just enough to keep on and play a really low block. But classic Man City, they give up a couple opportunities. One ball hit the bar, but did not go in. I think it was not Tete, whoever they're. I'm forgetting the player now, but they had a couple opportunities, but generally were not breaking down Man City. It was more that Man City couldn't score. And Danny saying, I think she'll understand. Well, she'll probably also say they don't even play good football while you're commentating for 2 hours. If she was quick to respond back, Danny. Anyway, so I did a bit of a score update. As we know, all of a sudden, Chris Wadinho is scoring for fun against Leicester, which helps us. And it's sad that we're saying helps us, but until we prove it and we have more finances and we supersede and overcome financial fair play, which I think we're about one year off, and kind of restructure and probably get rid of the likes of Sean Dyche's manager. We're probably in the 14th to 20th, so we're talking about promoted squads and caring about the results when they shouldn't need to be.
Yeah. Is Brighton Wolves still going on, or is that final now?
I'll check again. I believe Brighton Wolves became a 2-2 result. They were up 2-0, and then Wolves came back through Ryan Nouri and what's his name? Mateus Cunha? No, whatever Cunha's first name is. Scored there right at the end, which was pretty exciting for Wolves fans.
All right, Chris, what's your prediction? What do you think today? What are we going to get?
I was cynically, and I know Duggan would usually out cynic me, but I was thinking we would be underwhelming somehow because that seems Everton's way, but we would get a last-minute goal and it would be 1-1, and we would be dissatisfied, but we wouldn't lose. And Branthwaite comes up. I know that's not inspiring, but I feel like it just has it has it written all over it. Because Fulham have had our number recently at Goodison Park as well, and it used to not be that case.
Yeah. You think he would actually bring Branthwaite in? I feel like he doesn't often make subs in the back unless something's changing.
I would say maybe if we're in the final 5 minutes and we sub off the likes of Illiman and Jai, and we bring two up front with Michael Keane. And all of a sudden there's just a lot of scrambles and we just box them in. Then Branthwaite comes in Keane's spot, and we have two wingers, and Njai seems to get rested about 85 minutes. Then you'd have Branthwaite come on. Would be maybe something like that.
Okay. I was gonna say 2-0 today.
Okay.
But that was before when I thought Branthwaite was starting. So
Yeah. That makes a huge
uh,
difference.
it's going to make a giant difference. And now I think there will be some excitement in this one. I think I'm going to say 2-2. Our goals are going to come from a DCL Penn and Dwight. But I think we're going to give up some really good looks to Jimenez, Iwobi. So, yeah, I'm going to say Jimenez, Iwobi for Fulham, DCL on a Penn, and McNeil for us, 2-2 draw. Let us see your predictions in the comments. We'll throw them up here. We have Mr. Blue Skies, Everton 3, Fulham 2, DCM, McNeil, and Ndai. Chris, do you want to sing the Illiman Ndai song?
I actually don't know. I've heard it's around, but I have not found it. Like
It's I Am in Love. I can't deny. Our number 10 is Illiman Ndai. From Senegal to Bramley Moore. He is he's fucking magic. He is the one that I adore. Is that it? Ole,
well,
ole. Ole,
that
ola.
and DCL still doesn't have a song. That would be it, wouldn't it?
He
It's
doesn't
like,
deserve a song.
don't sing his song, don't sing his song.
He doesn't. DCL doesn't deserve a song. Maybe the year he had 20 under Ancelotti, he deserved a song. I don't know. I can actually see us conceding 3 to 5 goals today after the way we played against Ipswich. Ipswich is shit, by the way. Let's just put that out there. I really liked watching them last year, and they are terrible this year, especially towards the end. We're up against a team that will punish us for that today. So Everton 1-4, 4-1 loss.
Yeah.
Peter,
Now,
come on.
Peter's got okay. Do I say 3 to 5 goals? No. Do I think we played well against Ipswich in the last 15 minutes? No. I think the problem, though, Chad, was not that the players were poor. They were off their legs, tired, and we didn't have the players that you'd want to bring in at the end to assure the victory. So players looked gassed. And there were a few of these, like, if Ipswich were any good, they could have taken advantage of how slow we were at the back, and we were starting to get sloppy on clearances, but it seemed comfortable because they weren't doing anything with it. So Fulham are a different kettle of fish, but as we do have, and I'll bring up the post from Mr. Blue Skies, who brought it up earlier, on our bench today, we only have one keeper, so that's great. We have 2 centre-back options in Branthwaite and O'Brien. We have a striker in Beto. We have a winger today in Jesper Lindstrom.
Who's
and we
never
have
going
2
to see the
fullback
field under Lindstrom will never see the field under Dyche again.
because he had a poor half against Crystal Palace, and that was enough where he's never seen light again. Well, he's actually in really good advanced positions and hasn't scored, but he also doesn't do the defensive work that Harrison has, and Harrison has been impressive recently. If he drops back off, I think it's very much for Lindstrom to come in. And we have Mangala and Armstrong, but again, I said this on the watch along last week. Armstrong, love to see him in the starting fixture here, but if he comes on, that's a strange situation unless the game is over. It's either 2-0 up, 2-0 down with 5 minutes to go. Then you bring on Armstrong to give him 5 minutes because the match is over. A bit like, oh yeah, he gets 4 minutes against Spurs. Like that's the only reason you'd bring on Armstrong in this kind of fixture, because you don't trust him to in that formation to compete against Premier League standard. But you like that he's in the lineup.
Yeah,
so
I think I
don't
like
see
that.
O'Brien either.
Hey, I got a flash. Ipswich are not shit. The table would beg to differ.
And they blew a 2-0 lead.
Yeah.
Today.
Hey, Bob Stevens, for all of those joining us, 124 on right now, thank you so much for joining us as we get ready for kickoff between Fulham and Everton. We ranted about Jared Branthwaite not being in the lineup at the top of the show. So don't think that we're crazy and that we're not missing the most obvious discussion point, which is Michael Keane in the lineup and not Jared Branthwaite. We've just already touched on it. Just to go back, revisit it briefly, I am quite angry about it. Really annoyed. I think Sean Dyche is almost asking to be fired for not having his best player in the lineup, but he is He is so predictable. Sean Dyche is always going to go with what he thinks is working, and he's going to be very loyal to his Burnley boys, and that's what we
Yeah.
have today.
I think
But back to
in
the
some ways
bench.
you just can't expect more. That's the way he is. We know that, and that's why I don't get as emotional anymore because I'm just kind of I've accepted that's how Dyche is. But man, I want Branthwaite back. My
Yeah,
internet's cutting out. Apologies. Internet
no,
Wi-Fi.
that's right. Warmy Spoons, Ipswich are pretty shit. Um, yeah, you know who I really like that Hutchinson on the right for them last week. Maybe that'd be somebody that we could get in the next transfer window. All right, Chris. I was looking at the result. I was looking at our results from the beginning of the season till present day, and there is a theme. And I wish I would have pulled this graphic up, but obviously got pasted by Brighton and Tottenham to start the season. Did win
Mhm.
in the cup game against Doncaster, and that's really when I think we just started to play better football. Um,
Mhm.
all the way through, the Doncaster win, the Bournemouth, what should have been the win against Bournemouth, went up against Aston Villa. And then our season is now kind of turned around at least a little bit better. There's now a better feel to the season. It certainly seems to have coincided with Ilman Ndiaye getting put into the lineup. Do you feel
Absolutely.
like once Sean Dyche is in his right mind and is playing Branthwaite like he should, and Iliman Ndiaye is starting as he should, do you feel pretty good about what our prospects look like for this season?
Okay, so what does pretty good mean? And I know that's really facetious a question.
Uh, you know what? I would.
Do I think the 13th? Yeah.
It's a it's a great question, and I think in normal situations, if this has not been Everton of the past few years, we would say, do you feel pretty good where maybe we can expect at least a mid-table finish, and we're pushing for something better. But unfortunately, in recent years, it means, do you feel pretty good about staying safe? So
Yeah.
let me ask
I
you,
think
do
we'll
you
be
feel good about staying safe?
if Branthwaite and Njai are playing consistently for the rest of the season, I see a 13th or 14th place finish.
Would we take it? Let's hear the comments. Would you, everyone on, we have a couple more minutes. We have 8 minutes until kickoff. Chris and I are going to go soon. Would you take a 13th, 14th place finish? Last year, we were going to finish 11th had we not been docked points. So would we take a 13th, 14th place finish and then go into Bramley Moore next year, hopefully with some money to spend and better prospects?
The soft bigotry of low expectations. Let's
I
see it,
know. I
crowd.
know. All right. Well, hey, I'm proud of you. You packed an Everton shirt, even though you're traveling nearly all the way across the world to attend a wedding.
It's a 12-hour time zone shift. I think that's by definition.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's it. That's across the world. All right. Any final thoughts before we get out of here and get ready for the
I will
match?
add 2 points to your Illiman and Jai coming on. The Illiman and Jai also perfectly coincides with two things: Decore dropping deep and McNeil coming into the middle. That all came in at the same time, so it's the three-pronged effect there. I think Decore has been better. I know that's a touch word and cautious term, but better than I thought in that central midfield role. Yes, he still gives the ball away, but he seems slightly less sloppy than previous years. But he's still not to the standard that Mangala and others are in possession. But he is a body and a presence when Branthwaite is out that defends. So is he the difference? No, I think it's Illiman and Jai and McNeil up front together, where both of them have the ability to kind of either swap positions, and McNeil likes coming in from that right side and cutting in on his left and looking quite dangerous, sort of as a temporary inverted winger. I think that's a huge influence. And then the other bit, of course, is when we get Branthwaite back, yeah, all of a sudden I think the midfield looks stronger. They can trust that the people right behind them aren't looking nervous. And Mikalenko has more support as well.
Mm-hmm. That's well said. That's well said. There's a lot to like. There's a lot to like right now. Iliman Ndiaye is kind of the piece that helps make everything else work. Like you said, McNeil moving centrally. I don't know if that's his long-term position. I need Decore to find a seat on the bench. I'm just I'm done with the inconsistency. I'm done with just always leaves you wanting more. I mean, he has those moments of magic, a lot like Michael Keane, obviously. But I feel like Abdoulaye Doucouré just always leaves me wanting more. But wouldn't it be nice if we could go out and find a right winger who is able to match what Illuminati provides on the left, and then maybe a right back that would overlap and get into
Mhm.
the attack? I mean, you actually feel like we could be really close to having a really fun competitive squad here.
Yeah, I think my expectations are going to change at the start of next season, where you feel that the excuses aren't there anymore. You have a new ownership. You have an opportunity to start afresh, gut the squad a bit, get a new manager in, and not risk losing points mid-season. But for right now, I think it maybe give one more week for Branthwaite. I'm annoyed he isn't starting, but what take the high road or the positive that it's one more week to not strain an injury that seems to keep creeping up on him. But
Mhm.
do I see a win today? It's certainly possible. I think it's more likely a draw because Fulham, we shouldn't be taking them for granted. If you've been watching Duggan's comments saying that Marco Silva has Dyche's number, that's certainly true, especially at Goodison recently. So to
Looks like
expect
it.
too much is not giving enough credit to a good Fulham side here.
Yep. Well, excellent. Hey, appreciate you jumping on with me today, Chris. Can we expect you at all post match, even for a
Uh,
brief moment?
Post match, if it's exactly 2 hours after, maybe you'll get me in a black t-shirt, which is very or black kind of shirt and tie, which is very ominous to like a funeral look. So if we lose, maybe that's fitting.
Well, hey, we'll take you however we can get you. All right, let's go watch the Blues. Thank you for joining us and follow Everton. Join us again for post match reaction. It'll be me and Yan for sure, and then maybe Chris will be joining us as well before he jumps over to his wedding. All right, Chris, up the toffees.
Of the Toffees.